Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Basement Dweller Podcast. I am your host, Jacob, aka your favorite man-child. Before we get into today's episode, make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is basement_dwelling_Jacob, and Twitter is TBD_Jacob. You can also find me on YouTube at The Basement Dweller. Lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to today's intro music by Neon Bright. This song is called Yada and can be found on Spotify. I'll go ahead and post the link below. On today's episode, I am joined by my girlfriend Allie for a very special day. In this episode, we're going to dive into relationships, whether that be romantic, friendships, or family related. And without further ado, let's jump into episode 3 of The Basement Dweller. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Give me a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm excited.
Okay.
God.
I'm excited too.
Okay, well, it's not your fucking podcast. So. Welcome, everybody. Today is episode 3, and I am joined by the most amazing person in the universe, my girlfriend, Allie. Hi, Allie.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Had my coffee. I was so tired this morning.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. No, today is a super awesome episode. Today is going to be April 24th. And we all know what that means. It's our anniversary.
1 year.
1 year anniversary with Allie. It's been pretty awesome year, I gotta say. Except for the whole COVID part.
Except for the whole COVID part. But
that was kind of lame.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought in like a million years that I would start an actual relationship during COVID.
Well, I don't think any of us knew that COVID was going to happen, but...
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely did not expect to start dating.
Yeah.
Because it was already happening when...
It was like a month into the pandemic, and I don't think either of us knew how long it was going to last. Like the pandemic, like not...
Wow. Wow. Okay. Didn't know how long it was going to last at all, huh? Okay. Well, that's cool. Well,
Whatever. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. No, but that's crazy. Like in episode 1, you know, talking to Tyler, you know, I said that this was probably one of the hardest years of my life, but I never really considered or ever thought about. It's like I met you, you know, like that's pretty cool, you know.
That's really cool.
It's been weird though, you know. I don't know how many of you out there, you know, have started new relationships during this whole world shutdown essentially, but like it was really weird dating, you know, when we did. You know, restaurants were almost impossible.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't going to meet each other's families.
Yeah.
Friends, you know, you couldn't really. So we just did a lot of texting and a lot of sex.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to preoccupy yourself during these times, I guess, right?
A lot of Netflix and chilling.
A lot of Netflix and chilling. Yeah. That was one of our best memories, honestly, was finding...
Because Tiger King came out.
OMG.
Like right when we started dating. I think it was like a little bit before.
Do you remember your first emotions, like watching that show?
I remember just being excited because, like, you know me, I love big cats and everything. So I hadn't heard anything about it, like nothing. And then I saw it on Netflix and I was like, oh, like, let's watch this documentary about big cats. And it totally turned into something different.
Not at all what we expected.
No.
Oh my God. I saw a funny meme. It was like it was in March, and it was, you know, it's like today marks the day that none of us had any idea that a gay criminal tiger owner lived in, where does he live? Arkansas? Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, just like you thought, you know, we were just trying to find something to watch, and, you know, you like your big cats and thought we were going to watch an emotional documentary. Holy shit. What was it? Episode 1. We learn about his hatred for that bitch Carol Baskin.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
His handler gets an arm cut off.
Bitten off.
Yeah, bitten off.
Ugh, I couldn't imagine.
Do you remember how he handled that?
So like chill. Like he was just like, whatever, like I just got my arm bitten off, and you would think that, like, if that ever happened to you, you would never go back into a cage
Never again.
with a tiger. But
Never
he was just
again.
like, yeah, like as soon as he recovered, I think he was back, like taking care of all those cats.
I thought it was a she.
Well, yeah, well,
Well,
yes, but
okay.
she transitioned.
Okay.
So,
My favorite was that is traumatic, but can you imagine going to that sanctuary and it's like you're having a fun time and then some very flamboyant guy comes out and just like, well,
well,
I need you guys all to leave.
that would, like, I don't know, make my day.
I'm never going to financially recover from
Oh
this.
God. That fucking jacket too that he was wearing.
Oh, my
the
God.
EMT like bomber jacket. Ugh.
We were hooked, needless to
Yeah,
say,
we
after
were
episode
hooked.
1.
Yeah.
What he had 2 husbands.
Yeah. 2 husbands.
What did he say? Like that guy was pretty much just like, well, I was pretty straight before I met Joe.
Right. Yeah. And then I think he was pretty honest though. Like I think he definitely like was in it for, the money. I mean, Joe
Yeah.
was gonna take care of him
Yeah.
pretty much. So
Isn't it crazy to think like, remember when you were a kid and it's just like you hear like, you watch even cartoons and it's like that's been such a story on so much media where it's like the young one, marries the old one for money.
yeah.
It's like I would have never assumed in my life that like people could be that evil. But the older I get,
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for Allie just to find.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it like an evil thing because I think that there's definitely like more evil things you can do than just like marrying somebody
Of
for
course,
their money.
but what I'm saying is that that's what I thought was like
Right.
evil.
Yeah, it's like a trope, but it happens, and
Well, now I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, thought about it.
Oh my God. So many times have I come to Allie and just been like, what if I just found some old lady that was just, I just have to, she would, you know what, everyone listening, she wouldn't even let me just go on exotic trips with this lady. She's just like, no, because she's boring and she won't let me do that.
Whatever. I'm not boring. I'm just
Boring.
no. Okay, how would you feel if I went on exotic trips with some old man?
Wait, you're going to get a lot of money?
Probably.
Can I have some of it?
Sure.
Is he going to be like, well, okay, but I'm saying like from what I've been told, and I'm not even going to say from what I've been told, it's obvious that, a young man and an older woman, I think is definitely more of like, yes, I'm there for the money, but I kind of like this. You know what I'm saying? Also, I've been told that like older women usually just like to have you around because you look pretty,
Yeah.
so that's fine for me. I just don't want some guy to just, be gross with you, kind of like this Hugh Hefner.
Okay, but old women can be just as gross.
Oh, they can.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm getting a lot of money, I just don't get why, you're just trying to stop our happiness. And
Oh my God. Chill. Just because I don't want you to fuck an old lady.
I'm doing it for us.
You're not going to touch that old lady and then come home and touch me. That's for sure.
I wash my hands. Fine. I'll just have to earn my money the old-fashioned way. Dogecoin, baby. No, it's been hurting. I talked about it last week, and it's still hurting me.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to remember like this is how stocks work, as kind of demotivating as it is to watch it go from, 40 something cents to the high was like 44 cents, I think is what it got to. And then now it's chilling. Last time I looked, it was at like 24 cents, which sucks. But, I think Elon Musk is trying to help that. His last tweet said something about holding, I remember. So I'm like, hopefully everybody just fucking holds.
Yeah, but hopefully, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's because there's a bunch of newbies, getting into cryptocurrency.
I would say
I can't really say. I'm a newbie as well. I've known about stocks and things like my whole life because my brother's super into it. I've just never, done it myself. And because I never had the money until these stimmy checks.
Stimmies.
But, it's just, you have to be patient. And I just don't think a lot of these newbies coming in are patient,
I think it's more the opposite. I think that it's people who have been doing this and they know the whole buy low, sell high method. And I think that, like we mentioned in conversations prior, you learn to purchase stocks low and then they increase value. And if you look at every stock within the last 5 years, I mean, things are just getting better and better. And then you just let it go. And then you just hope to just rinse and repeat, you know? And I think, like, if I'm being honest with you, a part of me would have loved to cash out when it was at 45 cents. I would have made almost $1,000. And then I just put that $1,000 back into when it was 24 cents, you know? Because it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's what everyone's been doing. But I don't know it. I don't. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think yes and no, but I think that experienced investors know that it can get a lot higher
Sure.
than what it has. But it's like I said, it's the new people, you know, making double what they put in. They get excited, they take it out.
Yeah.
You know, but what they're doing is taking. What I'm assuming is they're taking their full amounts out when it's like you don't have to do that.
Right.
Okay, I didn't even put $100 in. At one point we were at like what 220 something, so it's like I could have taken half out and still had more in than what I originally invested. So it's just like, to me, it's like that's the smarter route to me, because it's like, yeah, I'm still getting money, but it's like at least I'm still keeping my hold there to hopefully make more.
So I think, but you know, I want to backtrack to what you said. I mean, it's the smarter thing, and I think that in today's climate, a lot of people don't really consider that, especially in our generation. I don't know about you. I really wasn't taught much about savings.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously, you know, my parents wanted me to save money for a bunch of stuff, but you know, I wasn't given the whole crash course in why it's better to invest now to profit later. And I think a lot of people are like that. And I think that in our generation, you see a couple zeros added off of $100 investment. I mean, why not cut your money and run, you know?
Oh yeah. I get it.
But look
I
at the
totally
people, look at the people like Bitcoin. I mean, I read stories all the time about, you know, I cashed out when my Bitcoin was 10 grand, and that was less than a year ago.
Yeah.
I'd feel pretty bad now, you know, if, you know, what are they at, 55, 60 grand right now,
Right.
coasting?
Yeah.
You know, but that's just something that you can't also, you can't expect that, you know, and that's the one thing that I told you is, you know, you said that you had the opportunity. Can you kind of tell me about that? You were saying that you had the opportunity to do Bitcoin like back in the day or something like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, just like everybody else, I heard about Bitcoin when it first came out, you know, and it's the same things that they're saying about Dogecoin now, where, oh, it's not going to go anywhere. This isn't even like a real thing. Like, don't waste your money on it. Now look at it, you know, because I was like, oh, like, I'm not going to do it. Like, it's never going to be what people think it is, you know, and that was my biggest mistake, was just listening to everybody else, you know, shit on something that they didn't understand or have any knowledge about, you know, and they're doing the same thing to Dogecoin now. You know, they're lowballing it. They're saying it's not going to go anywhere. It's a joke. It started off
I mean,
as
it's
a
still
joke.
pretty silly.
You know, it is silly, but like at the end of the day, people are putting money into it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know?
I mean, I know friends that are way more invested, in, you know, in this than I am. And it's pretty funny that, you know, we have topics for the podcast, and every episode so far I've mentioned Dogecoin. If anything, I think this is going to slowly become a crypto podcast that I know nothing about, you know? No, but it's just something that I think it's a very exciting I mean, we're getting older. Our generation is getting older, and it's stuff that we're starting to understand. I mean,
Yeah.
if you guys listen to episode 2, me and Robert did a really, you know, in-depth look on just really money can buy a lot. And you would say happiness. You know, so I was going to ask, you know, Allie, let's say, you know, overnight, you know, Dogecoin gets to exactly where Bitcoin is, right? So let's see, I'm just going to doing a quick little once over right now. Currently, Bitcoin is at, oh wow, it dropped a lot, 49 grand.
Okay.
So let's just say, so just, you know, off the top of your head, think about the equivalency that you would have. So with that kind of money, what would you do with that? Let's just say you cashed out right now because you're at 49 grand for Dogecoin. What would you do with that money?
I mean, the first thing I would definitely do is invest into other things.
Smart.
You know, because you kind of just want to keep that momentum going of making money without having to do anything, you know? But
it's the best way to make money.
Yeah. After that, I mean, I'd probably take my mom out and pamper her and spoil her and all that good stuff.
What about me?
Well, yeah, you too, but my mom comes first because she gave birth to me. So,
See what I deal with, people.
Oh my God.
I thought, this was unconditional love, Seems like
a
there's a
big
lot of
baby.
conditions, Your mom didn't take you out to a fancy dinner last night, so.
Well, she's taken me out to plenty of fancy dinners before you did.
Plenty of fancy dinners?
Yeah.
Plenty of fancy dinners?
Yeah.
I think you mean dinner. I think she took you to dinner. Whatever. How great was that meal?
It was really good.
Can I be honest?
I liked it, yeah.
Not worth the money that I spent.
Yeah. I mean, I think the lobster was. I really liked the lobster that we had. I thought it was a lot better than the lobster that they have at Red Lobster. But the steak,
Yeah.
could have been rare. I love my steak still mooing, so
Yeah.
I haven't been to too many restaurants who are like comfortable doing that, which sucks. But
I think they totally would. I mean, I think that the steak should still be mooing as opposed to beef jerky.
yeah,
And let me just say, if you were listening right now and you like your steak well done, go get some help. Leave. You need to learn that is horrible and you do not know what you're missing out on. And I welcome the challenge. I want you to reach out to me, whether that be Twitter, Instagram, the email. Please tell me why you like well done steak more than medium rare, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. So it's ridiculous.
it is ridiculous. That's like a fucking waste of food.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just so tough. It's like
yeah, it's like how the fuck do you eat that?
Yeah. Do you remember when Donald Trump mentioned that he liked his steak well done?
Yeah.
And like so many people like were making fun of him for that.
Yeah.
And there was just a flood of people to come support
yeah.
that he liked well done steak and why they like well done steak.
It was fucking stupid.
For a fact, like 2 years ago, if someone would have said, "How do you like your steak?" They would have not been caught dead saying "well done."
Yeah.
And you know what? I will admit that when I was a kid, yes, I liked it well done. And to even add an extra level to how disgusting that is, I used to love ketchup on my steak. But then I grew up.
Yeah. Like you were a child.
Yeah.
And then you developed taste buds.
If it sounds like if your taste buds are the same as like Donald Trump, you need to kind of grow up a little bit.
You need to reevaluate.
You need to because there's so much better food. No, but no, that was really nice. I mean, just for some background, I took Allie to a really awesome just like steakhouse, and I never really been to one of those places before. So, I think it's also like an experience. You pay for the ambiance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was annoying is that there was like this outdoor event, like this mini Country Thunder.
Yeah. Well, there was like two restaurants. Like you had the steakhouse, and then there was like another restaurant kind of, a couple feet away. And then, yeah, right smack dab in the middle of both of them was just this like outdoor, like concert going on. And it just kind of like, I felt like took away from it.
What was the most annoying was that like the restaurant that we were at, you could try to hear like the piano, like the nice like soft jazz, but it was just on top of just like boo 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 music. You know what I mean? Like so, It's like where are we?
I was like, I feel like I should have gotten like a discount on our meal.
Yeah,
for like all of that because that just kind of like
there was a lack
sucked.
of ambiance in our meal.
But
Definitely
I was with you, so
oh, it's so sweet.
yeah.
Allie's such a crybaby too. I was trying to do like I had this whole speech prepared. I got through 2 sentences and she was like, "Stop, you made me cry." And I'm like,
can't help it. Okay, I just
such
cry.
a crybaby. Man, who hurt you? Because I do so many minimalistic things. It's like, "Hey, babe, I thought about you today, so I got you some coffees." You did.
Yeah.
I mean, you're my favorite person, homie. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I love you, bitch. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
You're my favorite.
it.
Yeah, you're the best.
Aw.
I mean, it's it's through all the craziness of this last year. I am so amazed at not only with this podcast or music or my job, like how much joy I've gotten from having you in it. It just has made it so much better. Definitely not the worst at all. And I was thinking, with the date that we had last night, do you remember a time like So how old were you when you had your first date?
My first like real date.
Yeah, like where, not like, okay. So I'll give you an example. I'll go first.
Okay.
So the first date that I ever had, I was in the 8th grade, and 7th grade, and we went to go see that movie, Meet the Robinsons. I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah, I remember that movie.
yeah. So like my dad gave me the money. My dad gave us a ride, and all that stuff. But I consider that to be like my first date. We held hands.
Okay.
know?
Well, I'd say mine is like pretty similar. I don't remember. I think I was like in the 8th grade too.
Okay.
Or I think I was like going into high school. I think it was like the summer before maybe. Yeah, we like, I don't know. It was like some dude that I had met at the mall, and then
At the mall?
Yeah, I wasn't really that into him, but like my friend that I was with was like really into his friend, so then like we kind of just had to like go together.
So was it like a double date?
Yeah, and we just snuck in to the movies. Like I remember we bought tickets for Alice in Wonderland, and then like the Tim Burton one, and then we went and saw The Crazies instead. And yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I can't do The Crazies. That was too scary for me when I was a kid. That's still too scary for me.
Yeah.
I don't like scary
Can't
movies.
handle
I can't handle scary movies because I had nightmares.
It sucks. Because I love scary movies.
Well, fucking watch them. I
I
mean,
fucking will, babe.
okay. I don't have. I mean,
I'll
I just
watch them while you're asleep.
because then I'll wake up
Yeah.
to scariness like always. You know what? That is. We're gonna get a little sidetracked here because this was one thing I was gonna talk about later, but I don't know about you guys. This has to be relatable to somebody, but I go to bed earlier than Allie because of my job. I work mornings, so Allie will just watch TV while I'm trying to sleep, but she loves those murder mystery shows and stuff like that.
Love them.
I mean, and they're cool. They're cool when I'm awake and when I'm trying to watch them. But sometimes, I wake up and I just kind of like, my eyes just kind of crack open, just the brightness of a TV in a dark room, and it's just like, and then they found her body buried, her underwear stuffed in her mouth. Her fingernails were removed and kept as a trophy. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Go to bed, dude. How do you... I just don't understand, like, horror buffs out there. And if you like that, that's fine. But what I don't get is, like, you watch them at night, and then you're like, well, good night. Like, I have such a vivid imagination where, like, there's no way I can watch this and then sleep peacefully.
Yeah.
I have bad dreams. And I've never understood, like I do have favorite movies that are horror movies, genuinely.
Yeah.
I like movies that are noticeably fake. So like I like Gorehouse movies. So like like Leatherface and the Saw movies, stuff like that. Because when I was a kid, what I used to do is
Yeah, but all those killers are based off of real killers.
okay, that's fine, and that doesn't scare me. It's just like there's just certain things that are scary. Like I as long as I can know how the movie was made, I'm happy. Because I'll watch the behind the scenes. That's what I used to do as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd watch the behind the scenes and then I'd watch the movie just so I know, like, okay, like that's fine.
Yeah.
There was a good period of my life where, like, if I went to go take out the trash at night, I was like, oh my god, what if that pig thing from Saw is out here? It's gonna get me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. Or like if we're like traveling across the country and we're in the middle of nowhere, like we do not stop at all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna run into some weird country bumpkin family, like one of those like use a sinner kind of families,
Yeah.
No, but so I just don't get it. It kind of like kind of brings you back to like you always listen to how they have like the interviews for movies and want like to promote them,
Yeah.
and they always say like, well, what made you want to do this movie? Like what incentivized you to get into your character? And it's like they always say like some bullshit like, well, I just think that everyone loves to be scared every now and again. Fuck you. There is not a single moment in my life where I'm like, oh, thank God that happened because I needed that jolt. You know what I don't understand? I don't understand how you love that feeling, but you don't want to go on like a roller coaster.
Well,
or
for me, it's I have a completely different reaction to fear than I think like the normal person does, because like when I go to like the haunted houses and things like that, like I don't scream, like I don't cry or anything. Like like my body laughs. Like that's
Why?
I don't know. Like even though I am scared and everything, like somebody will pop out at me and they'll be like rah or whatever, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, I don't know. It's weird. So it's more of like an adrenaline thing rather than like I'm not really scared. Like
So what's the difference then between that and like going on a roller coaster? Or
well, I just feel like with a roller coaster, and I mean the same applies to the haunted houses. I mean, there could be some weirdo there that's just
exactly
killing people. I think it's only happened once though, and even then, I don't know if that was like a credible source. Or I think with roller coasters, like I just don't trust them. And and I'm also one of those people that's like on YouTube at 2 a.m. watching roller coasters like break and something wrong happens, and I'm just like I don't trust anything enough to like not do that while I'm on the ride. So I'm like, if I were to go on a roller coaster, like I'd be like, I need to see the papers, like I need to see like
are you serious? Are you serious?
And I feel the same way about planes. Like it's hard for me to like put that much trust in like another person to like take care of me.
So you're the kind of person that like you need to be knocked out on a plane.
Yeah.
Really? What about like a super quick like domestic like flight like to California?
I mean, like that's fine because it's quick, and there's not a lot of things that can happen in like 30 minutes or an hour. But I think with like, and I've never been on a long flight, but I feel like there's so much more things between like weather and, it's just so unpredictable that it makes me so nervous.
I guess. I don't know. I'm
like, is my pilot having a fucking bad day?
Yeah.
Is he just ready to fucking end it all and he's going to take whoever with him?
Oh yeah. I think about that all the time, dude. No, like for real. Like I saw this video. It was like, it was supposed to be like this heartwarming thing where this guy, he's like a pilot and he's got like this like little speech and he's saying like, I've been flying since 1975. I graduated from the Air Force in 1990, whatever, or what I mean, something like that. And he ends with like, I want to thank you all for being on my last flight today. And like, if I was there, like in the crowd, or not, like the passengers, I would be fucking terrified the entire time.
I would have been like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Like,
right. Are you the kind of guy that does not have any fulfillment outside of flying? Like, are you about to make the news today? Yeah. I like to drink on a plane. That's always fun. I don't need to be like lucid or anything like that, but I don't know. Like it's always like, I don't mind. I mean, because of my dad, I mean, I've been around planes my entire life. It's the landing that I don't like. That's probably my scariest part. But once you land, you feel good, But having said that, I would be the first to jump out of a plane. I want to jump out of a plane so bad.
I know you do.
That would be so great. That would be so fun, Allie. And I wish you would just get on board with this whole adventurous life that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to jump out of a plane. I'm trying to fucking wingsuit jump.
That's all you.
He's gonna watch me.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool to know then. So like in the future, you could just are you gonna be the mom that just like sits with the strollers?
Yep.
Oh, you make my life. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's a good trade. I'll do that. I'll go on it alone. Whatever.
That's like, but like I just like I don't like extreme things like that because I like Disneyland and Universal and things like that. Yeah, I can do all the rides over there.
Or what's
like,
extreme?
Extreme is like extreme heights, like going upside down, being flung everywhere, like, it's just I can't do it. Like I don't trust.
Remember like do you remember that the amusement park from Spy Kids 2?
No.
Like that?
Yeah,
like the juggler thing?
No, that looks fun, looks cool. I just know with my luck, like I would be that person that's like dead because it didn't work right.
Yeah, but do you have bad luck? Do you feel like you have bad?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, sometimes I do too, but I still do it. Do you do you ever consider yourself like really like an unlucky person?
Yeah. Unless when it comes to like lines, for some reason I'm like super lucky. I always beat lines at places.
Dude, that is such an amazing superpower that you have. There are so many times where me and Allie would go get, just something to eat and we always beat the line.
Yeah.
We get there, and then we literally 10 seconds later, we turn around, and there's 15 people behind us.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. I'd like to take a break from this episode to introduce something new to you guys. Recently, I had an idea where I would love to have people write in anonymously with questions that they'd like for me to answer on the podcast, whether they be personal, funny. It really doesn't matter. Are you going through something that's really tough in your life that you're kind of just too afraid to speak out about because of how you're going to be judged or anything like that? Definitely reach out to me. I'll answer them for you. I'll read them for you. And if you choose to listen, hopefully my advice helps a little bit. But if you want to write in, the email is tbdmanchild@gmail.com. That is Terry Bravo Delta manchild@gmail.com. These are going to remain anonymous. So if you want to go ahead and just write them in, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear any feedback, anything I can read on the podcast. You know, it's a great way for you to get a shout out if you want. You know, you can say who it is. Yeah, check it out, and let's get back into the episode.
Can I kiss you? I want to kiss you.
All right, we're back. Sorry, me and Allie just had to take a quick potty break and smooch break because, you know, we're madly in love. Just to get back on track from what we were, wanted to talk about today. We talked about our first dates. When you're that young, it's really funny what you think is a relationship. I guess I had my first girlfriend when I was in probably like the second or third grade.
Wow.
I know. Just Mac Daddy since day one, These hoes ain't safe, No, but like, what do you really consider a girlfriend when you're that young, I think that all it really was she was my girlfriend. And we broke up the same day. Short-lived romance, but it's really funny. Like, I've always been a very loving person. I love people. I love to make those relationships, and I've always been quite the ladies' man. I'd like to think so. I've never been nervous to talk to girls or anything like that. So I think, the thought of having a girlfriend excited me, because it was like, yeah, I'm a big man now. I got a girlfriend, and I literally in the same day I remember telling my mom, I had a girlfriend and she broke up with me, in just one day, and it's super cute, but and now now look at us, we live together, we're a relationship. This is exactly what our parents did before us. Do you remember how old you were when you had like your first like little like boyfriend girlfriend kind of thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up, like I was definitely one of those kids where like, I don't know, I had my crushes definitely, but I honestly like, it kind of like grossed me out. Like to think about like PDA or
gotcha.
Like, I don't know, like showing affection to anybody. Like, and I think that's because like my parents just never were those people. Like they didn't really like show their affection to each other. Like,
sure.
And all that. So I guess I just grew up kind of thinking that it was weird. And so I didn't really have any interest in it. And so my first relationship, if we can even call it that, was in 8th grade. Exactly. Yeah, it was in 8th grade. And pretty much like I knew that this dude like was basically in love with me, and all my friends like had like a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. And so I was just kind of like, okay, like if you like me, then I guess,
Yeah, I'll throw you a bone.
Right. I'll throw you a bone. Like, I guess I'll be your girlfriend, But then like after I feel so bad for this dude. Like I avoided him. I ignored him. Like I was just pretty much like, you don't exist.
Why do you think you did that?
I think I was just trying to like fit in, and it's definitely something that like I regret.
Did you break up with him?
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I believe it was an email.
Very business professional you are.
I wasn't going to do it in person. I did not have the balls to do that.
But you didn't even like him. So what's the issue?
Well, I didn't like him, but at the same time, like I was still very much, I didn't like hurting anybody's like feelings back then. And well, it's not that I didn't like,
Oh,
But it's like I didn't want to like see their face, you know, as I break up with them. Like I didn't want that.
I totally
like,
understand.
guilt,
Yeah.
you know. So I just kind of like, which is awful now, you know. I would never do that now because that's not how you go about things. And you know, even if you're gonna hurt somebody, then you need to do it face to face.
You want to hear something sad?
What?
I've never been the dumper in my life.
Really?
Really, ever.
Mm.
Like literally, I bet you if that I don't even remember her name, but I bet you if she never broke up with me, we'd probably just it's been together for 22 years now. You know,
Yeah.
like I just don't get me wrong. I think that I would do this thing. There was always a mutual understanding that it wasn't gonna work out.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, kind of like bouncing off what you said, I just hated being that person. So I think that I would just wait for them to do it,
Yeah.
you know? In a weird way, that's kind of transferred to my life outside of relationships, especially with jobs.
Yeah.
I was always afraid to quit a job because I didn't want to be like the bad guy, not realizing how expendable I really am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll just replace me tomorrow. So it really would just go into like my work performance where I would just stop giving a shit about my work and, you know, stop showing up, and eventually they would just fire me. You know, it sucks, but
Yeah.
you know, but no, I never did that. I've only been dumped. Well, yeah, like once as an adult,
Yeah.
and it's harsh, but you just kind of pick yourself up and you recover, and that's you move on. I mean, when you're a kid, I remember I had a girlfriend, you know, air quotes girlfriend in the 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. And do you remember when you were in high school? It's like during lunch, like you would have like kids outside like playing sports or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was something like that, or I think we were like playing soccer or whatever. And she would get pissed off at me because I wouldn't hang out with her during lunch
Yeah.
because I'm with the fucking boys. So, you know, nothing's changed, you know. No, you're just playing soccer. And I remember, you know, my feelings weren't hurt back then because it's like whatever. But her friend, because don't you miss like the messenger?
Yeah.
Yes, you know. Hey, so she wanted me to tell you to tell him, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so one of her friends comes up and was like, hey, so she's really mad at you. And I'm like, okay. She's like, she's upset that you don't want to spend time at lunch like with her. And the whole time, like, can I get back to the fucking game?
How long is this going to
Yeah,
take?
how long is this going to take? We have like 20 more minutes left. Like, and she's like, well, pretty much she said it's either, I'll never forget. She goes, it's either her or soccer. Like that,
Yeah.
you know? And I was just like, soccer.
Soccer.
I fucking hate soccer now. It's like, that was the last time. It's probably the last time I ever played soccer was,
Yeah.
you know, in the 8th grade. But, you know, it was just so funny that like how you feel like such an adult when you're in a relationship. Like you feel like you just know like how the whole world works. And I think that it's good to experience that kind of stuff early on in life because I think that it is important to experience like heartbreak
Yeah.
in a weird way. You know, kind of something that we were talking about before we started the podcast. We were talking about, you know, I don't know a lot of people that were high school sweethearts that are still together.
Yeah.
There is one. There's some of my best friends actually, and they're doing great. But I mean, I've heard stories all the time. Like you meet this one person, you know, freshman, sophomore year of high school, you're married for 25 years, and then it goes south, and it's like you've never experienced anything else in your life except for that person.
Yeah.
And now you're 40, freshly single, and it's like I missed dating, you know what I mean? I missed all the experiences in life. And so I think it's good to kind of experience that at a young age. And not really necessarily such a young age. I mean, when I was dumped, I was 24, 23. 24, and then I just stayed single for 2 years, you know, because I needed that, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, but if I can put my 2 cents in, I've never understood the broke up with someone, time to move on with someone else.
Yeah.
I think that you need time to really kind of reflect on yourself, you know, and I think a lot of people who do that don't see them as the problem. I mean, yeah, I guess I could start first. My thing is I'm very clingy. And I like to just smother people with affection. And that's not for everybody. And I think that's what kind of set off the chain of events that led to me to my relationship ending, a couple years ago. And I think that's the one trait that I kind of had to work on. I mean, is there something that you feel like had you have gone back in time? I know you're happy with me, obviously, obviously,
Yeah.
but like if there was something that you could go back in time and like realize like I should have probably done this a little different, like in a relationship to save it. Do you know what that would be? Like, do you know what your one flaw is, like when it comes to being with someone else?
That's such a hard question for me, I think, because it's like I want to say yes, like, I'm obviously not a perfect person. Nobody's perfect, and we all make mistakes and things. I think, I don't know, like in my last relationship, I maybe shouldn't have been so consumed with like fixing somebody,
Okay. So you say that you're like one of those people that like you can see like the negative characteristics in someone and think that you could conquer them.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is hard. Yeah. And then for a long time, like I was like, why can't I do that? Like, why can't I be enough to change this person? And it's like, at the end of the day, I can't do that to myself.
It really fucks with your head.
It does. Like
you take on that responsibility yourself, and it's not even your burden to bear.
no, exactly. And I think like it definitely caused a lot of issues. I definitely spent more time in that relationship than I should have.
Right.
And I think that's like my biggest flaw is that like I put so much into the other person that I forget about me.
That's interesting. That's a kind of an interesting way to respond to the question, where it's not that you would go back and give advice. It's kind of like you would go back and just say, hey, it's not worth it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's just not,
Yeah.
That's really, I think it shows signs that you are a good person. I would die for so many people, and you do need to kind of self-reflect and think how many of these people would do it back for you.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you're too busy focusing on other people, you don't really focus on yourself. And it's hard. And it's unfortunately led to people losing, their lives to anxiety and depression and self-doubt and
Yep.
low self-esteem. And, it's hard, and it's hard to break away from that, but I can say, it's always, it is always darkest before the dawn. After the few months of grieving and thinking it was my fault in my last relationship, you kind of start to see the brighter side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You really start to rediscover yourself. And when you make time for yourself, it's the best investment that you could ever make. You just kind of remember, like, I used to love doing this. Why did I stop doing this? Or, for me, it was music. I just stopped doing it. And it wasn't because of them. I want to make that very clear. It's not like they stopped me from doing it, but it's just like you're so invested in this person, or you're just so depressed that the things that used to make you happy, you can't even bear yourself to do it anymore. So it's all about that self-reflective period. And obviously as a kid, I'm not having these philosophical questions with myself when I'm in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
This is just more like as an adult, so choose to listen to the advice, don't choose. But if you have been one of those people your entire life where you just kind of move from relationship to relationship personally, and maybe you agree, I don't think you're doing yourself any favors.
No.
I think those are the people that you see, that are just always on social media. It's always dramatic. It's always, one thing after the other. I've seen
and
people.
they've got a love of their life like 8 times in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the new one.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, I see it all the time where it's like, yeah, I think people get so upset about, that saying where it's like, you can't love another person until you love yourself. And I think it upsets a lot of people. And I understand it. I get it, because definitely, do I love myself 100% every day, every waking moment? No, I don't. But I think that it's very true. You can't love another person until you are capable of having respect for yourself, being able to set boundaries for yourself, and ultimately loving yourself. Because no matter what, you are always going to, if those are things you haven't practiced, you are always going to push your insecurities off on the other person. you know, you are always going to project things onto the other person that necessarily don't deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's something that even at the beginning of our relationship, I had a really hard time with because I left an extremely abusive relationship. And so I think I was still kind of expecting the same behavior from you, you know, and it was definitely hard for me to get over, but it was like I had to.
Yeah, I appreciate you for that. And with age, I think also comes honesty. You and I are at the point in our lives where, you know, I'm kind of over dating. You know, as much as, you know, I am a huge advocate of you don't, you know, necessarily need to act your age. I'm not getting any younger. You know, I'll be 27 this year. My parents were married and had me by the time they were this age.
Yeah.
We have no kids, obviously. You know, we don't really necessarily, I mean, we talk about it. I think that's natural to talk about, but to kind of get back on subject, what I'm saying is that, you know, I was so proud of you for talking about that with me, how, you know, this is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
And I had to come to terms with no matter what I do, at the end of the day, it's up to you to eventually get over that. No matter how much I shower you with affection or gifts or love, it's not my place. At the same time, I would like to hope that, you know, we had a conversation where I had to be honest, and it was scary, but I was just going to say, Allie, I'm not that person. And I can assure you I'm not that person.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should demand, you know, the same amount of mutual respect. And it's a harsh thing to hear, but I think you took it so well, and I'm glad that we had the conversation, you know? And it just builds trust. I mean, communication, you know, you always hear about it from couples who have been together forever. I mean, and it's really the truth. I mean, communication is the number one thing. And people in my life now, it's I hate it. I hate the what's wrong? Nothing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
And then they're going to post something passive aggressive on Facebook because they want people to say, what's wrong? What's going on? People want the response. They don't want the solution.
Yeah.
Some people want to just stew on things all day, and I just don't have time for it. And that was another thing that we got over really quick in our relationship was I don't have time for games.
Yeah.
And if I did something wrong, as much as it's as hard as it is to talk to me, I need you to talk to me because I would do the same, you know. And I think that can save a lot of relationships out there.
Yeah.
If you just talk. Some people are just so proud.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's for some people. I mean, it's just hard. I mean, I know that it was hard for me because, I mean, in the previous relationship, you know, anytime I would try and talk about how I felt, it led to a fight. You know, I got gaslit. I was told I was crazy. You know, so I think it just got to a point for me where I was like, you know what, even if I do express my feelings, like I'm not going to be heard. You know, so that was something that I had to get over because once again, it was like, Jacob is not this person, you know, and obviously he's telling me that I can talk to him about my feelings and he's not going to do any of those things, you know, so it was just such a like learning experience, you know, I think for both of us. We
made the joke that, you know, it's, you know, no relationship is always 100% perfect. I love our relationship. I wouldn't change anything for the world, but we, I mean, we've had our arguments, but I made the joke the other day that the way that Allie and I kind of get over things that no one likes to talk about is it's kind of like besties in elementary school. You know, you just kind of argue a little bit, you cry.
Yeah.
And
well,
you
it's
make
like
up.
now I'm at the point where it's like, I can like, if I'm having an issue, I can go to you and I can talk to you about
Instantly.
it. Instantly.
And it's such a relieving moment. No one likes to have these conversations, but I like it a lot more than having to.
Something personally, I never thought I would be able to do with anybody. Like I thought that I would always just be like, I can't talk to anybody about anything. So like the fact that I can do that with you is awesome to me.
Right.
Because I never thought I would be capable of it.
It's just better than, you know, and maybe those listening can kind of relate where you've been in situations where you know there's something wrong with the other person. Like you're feeling it. Like you can feel that tension when you come home, when you talk to them, very passive aggressive. And all it just takes is just, this is why I'm upset.
Yeah.
And I would rather have you tell me why you're upset and maybe getting into an argument about it than forcing it out of you and we're firing it on all cylinders at the
Right.
beginning, you know. And there was a time, another story where, I messed up, and I didn't communicate it. Allie was upset with me, and I didn't see why I was in the wrong, and I was proud of her for just saying, you know what, dude, this is why I'm upset. This is what is angering me. I don't like that you did this. Take that information as you will, but just know that my feelings are hurt.
No.
It's so much better to hear that than the event happening and then 6 months later we talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
No. And I think it builds a lot of, just negative feelings towards the other person and resentment.
Right.
Like you're not doing any favors to your relationship by holding it in, and vice versa. You're not doing any favors to your relationship if you're not willing to listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We made a comment when we were at the dinner last night that there was this couple at a booth, and they were sitting. It was in a booth, and they were sitting like next to each other, not across from each other, and it's just like they didn't even look like they were talking.
No.
There was no anything, and me and Allie are like eating dinner while holding hands, and stuff like that. And it's just like, you look at that and it's like, ugh, I don't want my future to be like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was like, and I continue to watch him because it was like the guy would start talking to her, and then like literally like she would like roll her eyes, like she would just be like, I could tell she was going like, and it's just like, it's like, why are you with somebody at that point? Like if you can't even sit down and listen to them or have a conversation with them, like just do yourself a favor and just leave.
Right.
Like stop wasting your time with people that you're not genuinely interested in.
But I think
for the sake of not being alone.
But I think, no one really likes to hear that.
No, nobody.
It's hard,
Yeah.
Especially after, years of a marriage, I think that it almost becomes impossible to really listen to the voice of reason when it looks like the solution is just to leave.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very hard, but I think that goes back to what we were talking
I'm not
about.
saying it's easy.
No,
for sure.
not at all. Not at all. But this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, how it's just, if you would swallow your pride and just fix whatever started this, from the beginning, then you would see a lot less of this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't ever want to be that married couple. It looks miserable. You hear stories, like, I guess we're together for the kids,
Yeah.
when the kids are 18 and out of the house, we'll talk about it then. And it's such a miserable thought, because I think about that, and it's like, your kids are only 7 years old.
Yeah.
So are you saying that for 11 years, you guys are just going to fucking live together? You guys are just roommates?
Right.
It's just heartbreaking.
It is.
It is.
And I think, especially in a situation, like if you do have kids, I think that your kids would very much rather see their parents separated and happy
100%.
rather than together and miserable.
When my parents divorced, I was 6 or 7, and it hurt. I was a kid, and I was just like, why are my parents together anymore? Like, I didn't think that existed.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom had to tell me that. Would you rather us be together and fighting, or would you rather be, would you rather see us be a super team separated, where we both love you just as much, because I think when you do kind of quote unquote stay together for the kids, and we're not experts. Again, we don't have children. We're not married, but this is coming from a path of divorce. I've noticed that, staying together for the kids can also really fuck your kids up.
I can.
Because they'll come to realize, like, oh, so it was my fault.
Yeah. Or it sets, a bad example for your kids and how eventually their relationships are going to end up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I think that it was, for me, it was a huge reason. My parents are still together, but they've talked about divorce, and I get it and I understand, but it's like, okay, I wish that you guys had done this sooner rather than having me grow up in a home where there was no affection shown.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that it was gross. Like I thought it was weird. Like I thought it was weird that people even like my first thoughts on like sex was like I was like that's embarrassing. Like I thought that the first time I had sex, like I would be so embarrassed and just like I couldn't like, even like look at the other person. But like to me, it was like that's not what two people do in love. Like that's just what two people do. You know, like that's how, and that's
Right.
so toxic, and that's so like you just don't want your kids growing up thinking that.
No,
You
you
know,
don't.
because it's like the damage that it does on their life is just irreversible.
Yeah, and I mean that's just gonna follow your kids for life, you know, without the proper attention,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't. That's not what I want to be, and I mean that's not what anyone wants to be. So
Yeah.
you know, just gotta stay positive. On a funnier note, do you remember being in high school and just how horny you were 24/7?
Ugh,
Like
God, yeah.
those were the
Ridiculous.
dude. I mean, I had 2 girlfriends in high school.
Like at the same time?
No,
Oh.
come on, dog. Who are you talking to right now?
Well, you know.
I was lucky enough to have 1 at a time. So, no, dude, all you do is just make out. Like that's your whole relationship.
Right.
You know, it was funny because as a kid, I went from, you know, it's like when you're really little and you have like a boyfriend or girlfriend, you kind of think of like, we're going to be married now. You know what I mean? Like in high school, that was the fucking farthest thing, you know, in my brain. That's all I wanted to do was just touch boobs. You know, like that was
Yeah.
you know, those were, and those were also the most, I think, influential relationships because that was where I did experience heartbreak for the first official time. But I think after, you know, a couple's therapy sessions, I kind of laughed because it was like, I didn't miss the person.
Yeah.
I just missed fucking around with the person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that was what it really came down
Right,
to was
you
like,
just missed having somebody to do those things with.
right. You
It
know,
wasn't the person.
no,
Yeah.
literally they could have, you know, blown up in a bus crash.
Right.
And then someone else would have been like, hey, what's up? I'm like, okay, well, you know.
Yeah. No, in high school, I did not have I think like the attention span and the want to, I definitely tried and I regret those relationships because like, I definitely like wasn't ready for them because like I just wanted attention from anybody,
Right.
you know? So,
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a very like, look at me kind of kid.
yeah.
So, I mean, to get that consistently from somebody was just amazing. But I think, you know, going back to just adult partnership in life, it's like it sounds funny to say, but it's kind of nice to have alone time,
Oh yeah.
like away
I
from you.
love alone time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you know, we spend almost every waking moment together, which isn't a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. But it's nice to just go into the other room and play Xbox or
Yeah.
work on this podcast or, you know, just watch TV, you know. You know, we had the other night, you know, it's just you know, you put on something on Hulu and I was just like, okay, I'm going to go in the other room. So
Yeah.
I think you just need that. I think that kind of the exact opposite of people who are very clingy, you know, and they need to be clingy, and you know that can, you know, obviously ruin a relationship too. I think that, you know, it's also good to just focus on some alone time. You know, the people, you know, like the people who their whole personality is their relationship. It's like the people who share social media accounts.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Looking at you, Aquarius.
oh shit. You got some shit to say?
Yeah.
Talk some shit?
If you're an Aquarius, you're probably that person.
Why? I don't know any of that.
Because every Aquarius I've known is like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't-
Like, their relationship is like, that's them. Like their life.
You are gonna get me an email. Yeah, I gotta say something to that bitch who said,
Well, Libras too, so.
"Whoa,
Yeah.
ew, that's me. It's
Yep.
my tribe.
Mhm.
Libras are the best.
I like Libras a lot. You guys are great.
They are pretty great, except for when we have to pick dinner
Yeah.
or a
No.
movie.
Don't ever ask Libra. Don't ever ask a Libra to
Anything.
make a decision. Because they are the worst decision makers
Oh yeah.
in the world.
Oh my god.
And I told Jacob, I was like, you know what? That's fine, but you're going to have to be fine with eating at the same fucking place. Because I could eat pho every goddamn day of my life. So,
I don't like pho. I
well,
don't. Just tastes like
Learn how to make a decision.
hot meat water. I make decisions, but you
When it comes to you,
no, you do
Yeah.
the thing where classic lady thing where you say you pick, and then I'll list options, and I know that you'll go to them just because you're trying to be nice, but I know that that's not what you want. So
well, it's called compromise.
what do you mean? I tell you, I say, okay, what about this or this or this, and you know what you do, you go, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Well, I'm also not a picky eater, so to me, it's whatever.
Oh,
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not a picky eater. I
Well-
will eat most things. You have to admit that.
yeah. I'm just a child, so
Yeah, you can't have cilantro.
so gross. So disgusting. I need people to back me up on this because I know I'm not the only one. And I hate
In your defense, you do have the gene that makes cilantro taste like soap.
Yeah,
So
like
it's not
soap.
like it tastes good to you. But I'm sure that if cilantro tastes good to you, then you would like it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, obviously. But it's just not. It's not good. I don't like it. I mean and I'm embarrassed to say it just because some of the best food ever has cilantro on it.
Yeah.
Example number one, the most important being street tacos. You know, when I lived in Los Angeles, there was a taco truck on every corner. And it's like, I hated being that guy that was just like, do you guys have like non-cilantro options? Which is pretty much just a tortilla with meat on it. You know, I like the onions and stuff like that. It's just caked with cilantro.
Yeah.
Also, Chipotle should,
Oh, I fucking love Chipotle.
it's good, but they should absolutely have naturally rice and corn with no cilantro.
Yeah.
I
Well,
find-
they have the rice.
No,
and they-
no, I have to ask.
Yeah.
So they have
They
to.
should just have it out there.
Yes, they have to turn around and ask for
Yeah.
the rice, and I hate that.
Right.
I hate
It's
that.
like you feel like you're that customer, you know, but it's like I legit just have like I can't eat it,
Right,
you know, which I think that they should. I don't understand why it's so hard to just have it out there.
right.
I mean, I think they should take away that fucking brown rice. That shit's disgusting.
Who the
to
fuck
me.
eats?
I don't know.
That's what I did. I hate it. I go to Chipotle for their protein bowls, ass bitch. Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Come on, dog.
It's gross.
You're the same guy that would go to McDonald's for their salads. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
I just hope
stupid.
one day I get someone like, I want to let you know that I like the salad because it's with
It's great. I don't give a fuck.
Shut up. Yeah, shut up. You're fucking better than me.
Go to Salad and Go.
Go to Salad
like
and
if you
Go.
want a quality salad, then go to Salad and Go.
Right.
Not McDonald's.
Right. You know what I mean? Just like it's like the whole thing like with like vegan options too.
Yeah.
Like at a fast food place, like why? They're not gonna,
I mean, you know, I like the veggie patties though, places. Like I'm not a vegetarian, but like there have been veggie patties that I do enjoy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
My old roommate used to do they were like the veggie chicken patties,
Yeah.
and then she would just put that on like pasta.
Mhm.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I've had vegan food that's really good. My whole thing is that why are you trying to do it at places that are notorious for just killing people?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like own it.
You know what else I don't like?
What?
I used to date a girl. When I first met her, she said that she was vegan. So like a lot of places it was hard to like we didn't have like a lot of like dinner dates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we never really ate together, but one time it just kind of clicked to me because like, you know, we'd have like snacks or like munchies or stuff like that. It wasn't that she was a vegan. She was just so picky that she didn't. So her vegan was like mac and cheese, or not mac and cheese, but like pasta,
Yeah.
French fries, Oreos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck you. Like, I would have rather you be a vegan. Why'd you lie to me like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember we would go to some crazy shit. Oh, no, she would say vegetarian because it was like mac and cheese and stuff because she loved cheese. When we'd go to McDonald's, she would want the cheeseburgers, no meat.
I mean, I don't know. I've never tried it myself, but I have heard that their cheeseburgers taste the same
Yeah.
without meat.
Oh, no. I can
Yeah.
tell you that they don't because I had it all the
Oh,
time because that's
okay.
what she wanted. So it
But
was,
that's what I've always heard. Like if you get a McDonald's burger without meat, then it just tastes the same. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I fucking love meat. So I'm going to eat it. But
it's fucking delicious.
yeah.
Come on.
Which is another thing, like, I always find it so funny with, like, vegans, you know, because we were watching.
Sorry, everybody who hears that, by the way. My cat came in, so she's
Yeah.
very, she's
It's
deaf,
lucky.
so she can't hear anything.
She
so
doesn't know that we're on a podcast right
She's
now.
being very fucking rude right now. She doesn't get it.
But I always thought it was kind of interesting with, like, vegans, how, you know, like, it always needs to be addressed
Yeah.
that they're vegans, you know,
Yes.
because it's never been a thought in my mind that when I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, I fucking eat meat.
Right.
Like, I am a meat eater. I am a carnivore.
Yeah, but I think that's also natural just because it's more rare to be a vegan than it is to eat meat. You know what I mean? So I've always...
I don't think that it's something that's detrimental
Right.
to your personality.
No.
You know, I think that that's just what you prefer. So I'm like,
You
why
a
are
fucking retard or what?
you know, it's like, why are you, I don't know, bringing this up as something like that's just who you are. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like
all
that,
you are
that's
as
your
a vegan.
personality.
Yeah, you know,
Ugh.
I just don't get, because it's not my personality to eat meat,
Right.
you know.
It's kind of my personality to eat meat. I'm a big boy, so food's
That's
kind of
what
my
she
person. Nice. Oh, that was a good one. Can we take a quick break?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. We had to kick the cat out. She's too loud.
Yeah.
I'd love to have her in here, but it's ridiculous. That fucking ugh. She's so cute. I know. Sounds like a Wario.
Yeah.
Kind of just piggybacking what we were talking about. You know, we're talking about relationships and you know the trials and tribulations that you have, you know, throughout them. But one thing I really wanted to talk about too is that it's not always romantic. You know, I've had a lot of the same feelings for just personal relationships, like friends. You know, I think everyone listening has had a situation in their life where, you know, they've had to cut someone out of their life completely, you know, due to just a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disconnect.
Yeah. Kind of like a disconnect of,
Yeah.
you know, just your chemistry with that person just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Friends that I thought that would be my friends forever. I mean, we don't talk anymore,
Mm-hmm.
on purpose.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with, you know, distance or anything like that. They just are no longer a part of my life because I don't like them. And you always tend to think, like, will they come back in? You know, like and you know what's weird is I've noticed that with a friendship, it's harder to bring them back into my life than it is like an ex, weirdly. Is that weird? Like, I feel, now I've never taken an ex back. Once we're done.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would rather take an ex back, or I could see myself taking an ex back into my life more than I could a friend that I just had a fallout with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that there's factors that, you know, play into that. I mean, you know, especially on like a sexual level. I mean, if you're not having sex with your friend, then it's like, what really is the benefit?
I don't really have sex
to
with my
having,
friends. So.
You know,
You don't even give me dick, dude. Why would I let you in my life?
right. You know, I mean, it's just like, I think that's what it is when it comes to like exes and things like that. I don't know. I'd say it's the opposite for me. Like, I'm definitely more willing to let, like, you know, a friend that I had a falling out with back into my life rather than an ex.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done it to a lot of people, but there's definitely people that I'm not going to mention that, you know, we just don't talk anymore. It's just, it gets so violently bad, you know, that it's just, why would I even want you in my life?
Yeah.
And that's hard too. I mean, losing a friend's like losing a relationship.
It really is. And sometimes I think that it's even harder, a relationship,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, you know, I brought up the whole sexual thing, but it's like you made this connection with a person without any of that, you know, without any of like
Romantic tension.
Yeah, without any romantic tension and intention. And like, to me, like sometimes that can be almost like deeper, just, you know, depending on the person. But yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. Because I'm a person that keeps friends for life for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're my buddies, you know, ride or dies, you know, but it's so funny. I never thought about it like that you really do make such personal relationships with these people. I mean, I've had, you know, like the friend I mentioned earlier in this podcast, him and his wife have been together since high school. I mean, that guy was with me when I was telling my dad that I didn't want to live with him anymore.
Yeah.
That's really hard. That's very emotional. I mean, I've cried to these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've laughed and we've lived experiences. We've gone, you know, it's funny because I never really think about, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think when it happens, when they're no longer a friend to you, it's almost like they are kind of like dumping you. It's almost like they are kind of betraying you. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, have you ever experienced a time where it was in your best interest to let someone go?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a couple times. And it sucks because it's usually over like the most dumb thing.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, actually a couple years ago one of my really good friends was getting married, and I was the bridesmaid or the maid of honor. And it's funny because she was a Libra. And naturally I always feel so close to Libras and everything. But like, I felt like for the first time in a long time, like it was somebody who understood me, like we were always on the same page. Like you said, like I've faced a lot of like some of the most difficult times in my life with this person, like they were my confidant and I confided in everything with them, but, at the same time that there was things that, I mean, she was just kind of like a mean person. Like she was definitely like a mean girl, and I don't know why I thought that, because she would talk so much shit to me about everybody else. And I don't know why I didn't make the connection that, she's probably going to these people and talking shit about me,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is such a thing. I think you just learn naturally, where I just call it like the ABC method, where if you have friends A, B, and C, as soon as you remove one from the equation, the other two seem to talk shit about the other one.
Yeah.
No matter who it is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like all three have like dirt on each person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that could just implode at any moment, and that's
Right.
never good.
Right, exactly. And that was kind of, going on, and I was just kind of like, I don't really like that. I, on another note, she was just kind of a selfish person, and I'm not that way. Like I'm very selfless, and I mean, I have my moments of being selfish, but
I mean, you need to, but that's not always a bad thing.
it's not ever going to affect anybody else. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But her selfishness would definitely affect everybody else. That's the thing. It just got to this point where it was getting closer and closer to the wedding. She was turning into a bridezilla. Like,
Oh, I miss that show so much, dude.
yeah, it was crazy.
That show made me never want to get married for as long as I live.
Dude, their wedding made me not like want to get married at all. Like,
Really?
Yeah, for a good minute, I was like, fuck this. Like, if this is what a wedding does to somebody, like, I don't want to do that. And yeah, she was just turning into a bridezilla. There was all these things. Like, I remember she was in like this Facebook group where they would debate on things like, would you have this at your wedding? Would you allow this at your wedding? And it was on a post where it was like this bride didn't want her bridesmaids to show their tattoos. And she was like, I would never do that. Like, obviously I asked you to be my bridesmaid knowing that you have tattoos, and so I would never ask anybody to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I have red hair, right? At that time I really wanted to experiment with like orange. So
Sure.
I started dyeing my hair orange. And it was kind of in like an in-between process. Like obviously it was going to look better before the wedding,
Yeah.
but she comes to me and she's like, you know what, Allie, your hair looks like shit. Everybody at my wedding is going to make fun of you. I'm going to be embarrassed
Oh my God.
if you come to my wedding like that.
Jesus.
And I was just like, fuck you, dude. Like, because at one point she was like, well, we'll just pay for you. Cause I told her, I was like, it's not even done. Like, this isn't even like what the end product is going to be. And she was like, well, she's like, okay, like I didn't know, like, I'll pay for you to get your hair done the way that you want it. When like two months prior, we kind of did the same with my bridesmaid's dress, where we found a dress that I loved. And I think it was like the last one left. I just didn't have the money for it right then and there. So she was like, hey, I'll pay for it. You just cover my, we were going to a resort for her bachelorette party. And she was like, you just cover my drinks.
That sounds like your end of the deal is way more expensive than a bridesmaid's dress.
It was. Yeah. My bridesmaid's dress was like $200 something. I ended up spending $700 on this bitch
Oh my
at her
God.
bachelorette party. So, and then later on, she ended up throwing it in my face that she bought my bridesmaid's dress. So I was like, bro, why Like, why am I gonna let you pay for something if later on I know you're gonna throw it back in my face?
Yeah, you're just gonna screw me over.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck your wedding. It wasn't even a real wedding, by the way.
Oh shit. What do you mean?
So basically, they were just having a ceremony, which is fine. You know, if you want to have a ceremony and not get married, that's fine. But don't put everybody under the assumption that it's a real wedding so that they'll pay for everything. Because that's what she did.
Yeah.
Is that she made it seem like a real wedding so that everybody else would, put money into it. And, it was just like crazy. And I just got to the point where I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, a real friend would never tell me that. Like, a real friend would never be like, everybody's going to fucking make fun of you. Like, if you don't like it, then just tell me you don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to be like, I'm going to be fucking embarrassed.
And maybe you could also, think that there's just a lot of stress that comes, like, with a wedding. But at what point is that no longer an excuse just to just be an asshole? Because it's like, it's not my problem that you're getting married, first of all.
Yeah.
I didn't, plan all of this for you. This was totally your idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so at that point, so the wedding happens.
Yeah, and I didn't go.
So you didn't go.
No.
And was that just the end of it?
That was the end of it. Yeah.
Do you ever see that do you ever feel like there's a part of you that, could see a friendship coming back?
I wish her the best, but no.
Not like, so like if she came to you and what if she apologized?
No. And I think a big factor to that is, right after I broke up with my abusive ex-boyfriend, who she also agreed was very abusive and didn't like him at all.
Sure.
The day that I broke up with him, he went to her house, and then I hear that they're both talking shit about me.
Ugh, that's the worst, man.
So she's confiding with my abuser about what a piece of shit I am. So
that doesn't
go
feel
fuck
good.
yourself, girl. Wish you the best, but go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same boat. I mean, with me, in high school, I was in a band. And, I always used to make the joke that a band is kind of just the dysfunctional relationship that you choose to be in, And one thing I just didn't really understand was just the amount of bickering that would just transpire, in that relationship. And, just like any other relationship, the first couple of years are great. You don't really show signs of, I guess, what you would call abuse, quote unquote. I mean, I wouldn't say there was abuse. I don't want to say that, but I mean, what always happens in that kind of friendship is that there's always someone who just kind of makes themselves the leader. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of became like, kind of like you see like in like TV shows where just one guy just gets a big ego, and it's just like, well, whose band is this anyway? Like, I am the talent. This is my band. You guys are just in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just what happened, and it was just affecting me. And I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I definitely did a lot in this band too that wasn't the best. But it just kind of had to learn that I had to cut and run. But like we mentioned earlier in this podcast, I didn't quit. I was fired from the band because I just stopped showing that I cared. I mean, that's really what happened, is that I just stopped going to practice, stopped promoting, hindsight, I wish I would have just left.
Yeah.
I wish I would have just left on my own accord, because it still stings to be fired from a band. I got fired from my friends, and that was another reason that with this podcast that I didn't want to have a co-host on the name Basement Dweller, because this is my creative direction. And it's I want to make that very clear that I have guests, and every week will be a different guest. And maybe I'll have a podcast where I do have a co-host, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I think after learning that experience, if someone is hindering you from doing what makes you happy, and I guess the way I look at it is maybe I was hindering them, but you just got to leave, and I don't ever want to be like, because our first idea was to have a podcast just with the two of us.
Yeah.
But I'm so just, I guess, triggered, I guess is the word, by that thought, because I don't ever want there to be any kind of butting heads about creative views,
Yeah. And
I think that really, that's, I'm in a band now. We're just a little side project. Hopefully I'll have them on soon. I'm actually really excited for that, to have them on. It's still hard to Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like it's hard to push the band in any kind of way, shape, or form, because as soon as I get that feedback that I don't like, I'm afraid that it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
And so I'm a very passive person. You know, I don't like argument. I don't like arguments. I don't like, you know, people cut me off in traffic. Sure. You know what I mean? Someone cuts me in line, whatever. You know, I'm just not that person. And I think because of friendships that I've lost because of that, I mean, it's just kind of scarred me. You know, but I can say that the relationships that I've kept, you know, some of my best friends, actually, you know, we had Robert on episode 2 and episode 4. I got another guest. It's my other, you know, best friend. You know, like I mentioned before the podcast, I mean, video games have almost caused us to start fighting.
Yeah.
Like fist fighting. But we're still here. You know, we're still friends years later. So, you know, I mean, I know I'm kind of trailing with this. There's not really a point that I'm kind of getting to, but
I think it's just, you know, there's going to be those people who you click with, and whatever you go through together, you know, it just has to be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. That's
you
what,
know,
yeah.
like, and it's just like a romantic relationship. I mean, friendships are 50-50. You know, you have to be willing to put as much effort in as the other person is, you know, and if somebody's not getting the same effort that they're putting in, then, you know, leave.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if that relationship isn't fulfilling to you, then why stick around?
Right.
You know, stop wasting your time. And, you know, that goes, I think, you know, the next thing you wanted to get into is family.
Yeah.
And I think the same can be applied to family.
Oh, yes.
You know, I always hate the saying, you know, blood's thicker than water.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are plenty of people in my family I don't talk to on a daily basis. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I wish that I could. I wish
Sure.
that the relationship was
Absolutely.
better. But it's like, I'm not going to keep somebody in my life that thinks badly of me.
No, it's hard. That one is, out of everything that we've talked about, that one is the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
I love my family. I am so family oriented. They're my favorite people on the planet. I've got 5 beautiful siblings. You know, I've got 4 wonderful parents. You know, both, you know, my parents divorced and both found people that they're very happy with, and so I'm so blessed in life to have so much love, and I've got amazing aunts and uncles and cousins, and unfortunately, I have not good aunts, uncles, and cousins that I just don't see anymore, and it's by choice. And that was the hardest thing, to get, you know, a little real for a second. Since I was a child, my favorite thing was music. I love playing music. I listen to music, obviously, you know, who doesn't? But I wanted to learn the guitar. That was my thing, is that I wanted to learn how to play the guitar because it was cool. I mean, it was everything I ever wanted. You know, I started playing guitar because my favorite thing was Metallica growing up. I thought Metallica was the coolest fucking thing. I thought super hot girls were cool, you know, and I knew that they liked the musician, you know, and I had an uncle who got me my first guitar, my first real guitar, you know, and he took the time to teach me how to play, and I sounded really good for my age. You know, it's very rare to have such strive at such a young age, and this was all I did. You know, if I wasn't at school, if I wasn't sleeping, I was playing my guitar. And, you know, shout out to my parents, because those guys had to listen to when I used to suck at it all day. You know, in my room, they would just hear, you know, Crazy Train for 8 hours a day, just played like shit, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the point I'm getting to is that he kind of ruined his own life. My uncle, just alcohol. He just kind of drove back into alcoholism, and just became not fun to be around. You know, he was always a mess. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed, and it's like seeing your hero, you know, your hero fall from grace, you know, and I don't even know where he's at right now. You know, last time I heard, he was in a rehab, and that's it. I mean, that's the last time that, you know, it's been years since I've spoken to him, you know, but
I think it's a crazy thing, because I think I struggle with this idea that, like, if anybody, at the end of the day, if there's anybody you should be able to go to and fall on, at the end of it should be family.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, 100%.
You know, even if you don't agree on things, even if you don't you know, see eye to eye or, you know, any of that. Like, it should always just be all love and acceptance.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it just isn't.
It's not, man. And that's just, it's heartbreaking, you know, and what I was going to get to is that I didn't want him not to be in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This wasn't something that we had a back and forth on. And then it's like, you know, well, fuck you, you know, we're done. He just, I couldn't be around that.
Right.
You know, it's, it was hard. It hurt more than any relationship I ever been in, any friendship I ever been in. You know, I loved him. I mean, I love him. I hope he's okay. But you know, my mom, it got to the point where my mom would tell me, you know, like, oh, he's coming, you know, to Christmas dinners or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, I'll be there when he's gone, because what am I going to say to him?
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing to say. I don't even want to catch up with you. I don't want to let you know what's going on in my life. I don't want to tell you that I'm still playing music, and I don't want you to lie to me and say, oh, well, we got to jam sometime, because we're never going to.
And it's not going to happen. Yeah.
So to this day, I'm so heartbroken, you know, and, you know, I asked you with your, you know, your old friend about with the wedding. I mean, if you were to call me, it would take time, but I'd want him in my life. You know, I'd want him back. But the thing that hurts the most, you know, and this is what we were talking about at the beginning, you can't expect to change anybody. And this is his third or fourth time of just fucking up.
Yeah.
You know, so at what point do I just consider it a lost cause? And it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, there's just those people that, you know, no matter how hard you try, you can't help them. You know, they have to be willing to help themselves at the end of the day. And it's tough and it's hard to come with terms with, because it's like, you love this person. You want the best for them. You want to see them go far in life. But I mean, there's just the sad fact is that sometimes like nothing you do is going to help them, you know? And
it's harsh, man. And you know, I'm glad that it hasn't been a consistent thing, you know, like I haven't had to cut a lot of my family members away, but you never want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that you go looking for, you know. I am one of those people that, you know, used to think that, you know, blood is thicker than water, because at the end of the day, I had my family. And I don't know. It's hard. Like even now, it's hard to not get emotional. So I just hope that wherever he is, you know, I hope he's okay. Yeah. And I hope that, you know, he lives long enough to see the man that I become or am, you know. I know he misses me.
Yeah.
But even now it's too soon, you know. It's
Yep. I mean, I feel that way about my grandparents. So I can really tell, like, lately they've been trying to get closer to me and things like that. But I mean, I grew up with my grandma constantly telling me that I was going to go to hell. Like, you know, she told me, it's kind of funny, but, you know, she always told me that, you know, I had demons and, you know, all these things. And, you know, she really ostracized me a lot just because I was not Christian. Like, I constantly questioned that whole thing, and she did not like it. And, you know, I got no support from her. You know, at family gatherings, she didn't really talk to me, you know. With both of my siblings, she helped them out with so much, and with me, nothing, you know. And it's like now, you know, they want to, you know, build a relationship and things like that, and it's just, I can't.
Yeah,
like,
can't.
It's too late, you know. And I think that's something that people need to learn is, like, I mean, first off, you know, in a family, no matter what somebody's views or, you know, you don't have to agree on everything, but when you're family, like, you should accept them no matter what, you know. Unless I was out there, like, murdering people and, you know, sacrificing goats to Satan. Like, I don't think that, like, I deserved the treatment that I got.
Right. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
You know, and
go ahead.
sorry, but, you know, on the other hand, like in my situation, don't ever feel obligated to take somebody back into your life that has just proven time and time again that they don't want you.
Right.
You know, because I know at the end of the day, they're not doing this because they want to.
Yeah.
You know, I know at the end of the day, they're doing this because they're getting older.
Right.
And they obviously regret making the decisions that they did. But it's like, I don't want that.
Right.
Like, I don't want you to come back into my life out of your own pity, you know, and regret and things like
because
that. I want
because
you to come
you
back
feel
into my
bad.
Yeah, because you feel bad. I want you to come back into my life because you genuinely have an interest in me
Right.
and how I'm doing. And
In a weird way, it would almost feel better that if they just didn't even bring it up.
yeah,
They were just like, hey, what's going on, man? You know, hope you're doing good, you know.
right.
Because the damage has already been done.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I don't and you had years, literal years to apologize to me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have this normal life and then you show up out of nowhere and it's just like, hey dude,
Right.
you know? So
Yeah. Whether you have good intentions or not, it's just like I
think you know, the point of all of this is whether or not it's friends, it's family, it's a partner, you know. As nice as you want to be and as caring as you are, you know, don't put yourself behind others when it comes to your best interests.
yeah.
Because it's just going to make you bitter. It's going to fuck you up. And it's going to teach you to, you know, in my own experience, to almost never love again,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that with that, you know, being in mind, you know, just live your life, guys. You know, be happy. And if you're not happy and someone's making you not happy, tell them. And I mean, there is a worst case scenario, and always be prepared for a worst case scenario. But it's going to make you feel better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's you know, and your happiness comes first. And, you know, don't ever feel like you're selfish for that. You know, obviously we don't want you hurting anybody, you know, and that's what makes you happy. But
Right.
if you're going through something hard, you know, if a family member's being a ball buster about just, you know, what you have going on in your life, it's just not worth it, man. You know, you need to do you. I'd kind of like to wrap this up with an email that I received for the podcast. You know, I'll mention it again. If you have anything that you want to get off of your chest, something that you're too afraid to say non-anonymously, you know, something that you maybe want to just hear being read by someone else and you're just looking for some advice, I want everyone to be aware that you're always welcome in this podcast. Because I'm sure if you're going through it, a lot of other people are going through it, you know. I don't know about you, Allie, but it almost feels good to hear someone else describe what you're feeling,
Yeah.
you know, just so you can kind of get a second opinion on it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this email comes to us, and again, it's anonymously, but so the email goes as follows. So I'm getting married next year, and I'm contemplating not inviting my own parents and brothers due to many issues growing up and my family, to the point where I've basically lived pretty much without them since I was 17, and I'm 28 now. The past history has much to do with physical fights with brothers, consistent begging for my money from parents, and the list goes on. Knowing how important marriage is in life, and for the most part, people have only one marriage. Is it shitty to not invite my family knowing the past events? Or do people still invite family because of the fact that it's a marriage? Wow. I mean, that's a pretty big thing, man. You know, you mentioned physical fights with your brothers and your parents asking you for your own money.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's rough.
fuck that. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Oh yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, I can't even imagine. It would be so weird right now. Can you imagine getting a text from your mom and just saying like, "Hey, can I borrow $30 right now?"
Yeah.
You know, that's never good.
No.
No. First of all, congratulations on your getting married. That's really
congratulations.
cool. I hope that it's an awesome wedding. Like we mentioned, what's going to make you happy? You know, what is it, you know, at the end of the day, that's such a to the point answer, but it is your marriage.
Yeah.
You know, it's your wedding. It's your special day. And like you mentioned,
I think out of all days, you know, I think that's the day that you have the right to be the most selfish.
yeah,
You know, I mean, you've spent a lot of money on this. You put a lot of time and effort, and, you know, you want it to be the most least, in my opinion, you want it to be the most least stressful day in your life. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I hope everybody's day is, you know, less stressful than the next, but I think out of every day, your wedding day should just be, you know, all about you and what you want. And
yeah. I mean, and like Allie mentioned earlier in the podcast, I mean, you don't want to be stressed out to the point where you're now affecting your friendships
yeah,
and you're taking it out on them, because that's a whole other can of worms.
yeah.
So I don't know, Allie, what do you say to him? You know,
Well, he mentioned that he didn't want to invite them, right?
he said, is it shitty to not invite my family knowing the past events, or do I still invite them because of the fact that it's a marriage and they're my family?
I say don't invite them. At the end of the day, like, because like I said, you don't want that to be a stressful day. And if what you're saying, you know, like if you've gotten into physical fights, if you know, your parents are asking you for money, I mean, what's going to stop them from doing that on your wedding day? You know, they
Yeah.
shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Right. And you know, to kind of piggyback off of what Allie is saying, it's, you know, when you invite family members to this kind of stuff, it almost feels weird and unnatural to, I mean, if all of that existed before this, it's weird to pretend like it didn't happen
Yeah.
just because they want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Allie. If you're looking for a solid answer other than do what makes you happy, I don't think that you should invite them, because at the end of the day, it sounds like from the email that you're not happy or comfortable with the thought of them being there, and you and your fiance are what are most important.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as it's just you two and someone to marry you, then that's all that matters. It could just be the three of you.
Yeah.
But no, this whole, you know, my family is everything bullshit. If they're putting you through that much stress and you're losing sleep and you're getting anxious over what should be the most important day of your life, don't invite them, man.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Just save yourself the trouble and
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's gonna be tough.
yeah.
But it's gonna be worth it, because I think that you're gonna be so much better off. And hopefully that they see this as a waking point, you know.
Right, like a wake up call, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have, you know, treated you that way, because now I'm not able to share those most important moments in your life.
Right.
You know.
You know, and yeah,
I hope that it does urge them to change.
And you know what? If it doesn't, then it clearly seemed like a lost cause to begin with.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna start your life brand new with someone who makes you genuinely happy, and it's their loss.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good one, man. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Yeah. Wow, that was a long episode. Man, we got really emotional on that one, huh?
Well, I think the issue is me and you can just talk
Oh, yeah.
for hours.
We do that all the time. So
Yeah.
thanks for getting a glimpse into me and Allie's life. I want to thank that email again. That was a great question. And once again, if anyone else is feeling like they have something to get off their chest or they just want advice from, reach out to me. I'm a homie to all friends. So if you want to come down and hang out in the basement with me, please shoot me an email. That's tbdmanchild@gmail.com. tbdmanchild@gmail.com. I want to thank Allie for being on today. That was really awesome. I hope that was pretty therapeutic for us. I hope that it was the same for you guys. Take it how you will. As always, reach out to me on Twitter, on Instagram. If you have any comments, questions, leave a comment on YouTube. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on how I can make the podcast better. One more shout out to Neon Bright. Once again, he's our closing outro for today. Allie, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.